I'm live. That's quite new to me. So let's have a look where we are. And let's join GISchat right now. There was a big question already going on with Dr. Michelle and Tobias. She asked, last week, a monster discussion got started about the term GIS. I wasn't aware that there was a big discussion going on. I saw some videos about it. But do you think it's still relevant? Hell, yes, GIS is still relevant. But to be quite honest, it gets a little bit too much emphasis on the term GIS. So to keep in mind, GIS, Geographical Information System. That's it. It's just a software. It's a bunch of software. We are talking about geospatial data, of course, but it is not like it is a whole world around it or something like that. So yes, we are experts here, and we are dealing with special data. We have a purpose. We connect things that might not be connected by other services or entities or sciences. But all those videos, and I created one as well, was about your career in GIS or what do you need to do GIS? Why GIS? Why I choose GIS? You cannot choose GIS. It is just a tool in the end. You need to understand the data. You need to work with the data, but it's always the same. So if you're using Word, either you know the verbs and the words, then you can write. But in the end, it's just a tool, right? So that's why I always have a little uncomfortable feeling about this whole GIS, and this is all so cool. And there's you can do a master in GIS and some other degrees in GIS. It's like having a master in Word, right? So no, you can use it, but if you really want to use it, you need to understand the theories behind it. So you need to understand math, statistics, human geography, physical geography, and other things to be good in what you're doing and what you're searching for. And people might ask you questions about how can I do this and that in GIS, and always make sure go back to the user and ask himself or ask him or her, what do you really want to do? It's not about GIS and can I download Google Maps or can I download this and that and I would like to have a map and this should show. No, talk to the persons, ask them what is their real problem, and then try to be the expert you're supposed to be in working with a GIS. And sometimes you don't even need a GIS, like last week there was a map going around that was created with Excel. Is Excel a GIS? Maybe, if it's doing what it's supposed to be, like showing geographical data, sure, it's just fine, right? And would you rename our field if you could? So GIS is not a field, as I said. It is a tool, so we can use it. And the field might be geospatial science or geospatial technology or something like that, but GIS, and it was emphasized this way by I think Esri quite a lot in the last year. So if I'm on forums or something like that, and they're talking, oh, I need to use a GIS, and it's all like, what GIS do you use? And they're, well, I don't understand the question. Of course, ArcGIS, ArcMap. So as said, deal with the problems, not with the software. The software is a tool and should be treated as this. So all what you're doing should be possible to do in every software you would like to use. Either it's Python, so you can build proper GIS workflows with Python. Python is a scripting language, so it's not a GIS anymore or something like that, but it deals with the problem and it gives you a proper result. So therefore, I wouldn't rename it. I would just ask the question different. So, and our field. So I'm working in the geospatial technology field, and I'm doing programming as well as dealing with scripting languages, dealing with data problems, dealing with publishing. So I'm a publisher as well. So does this make me a writer? No, of course not. I'm writing technical documents. Okay, so but I'm a subject matter expert in terms of geospatial technology. So what's in the name? Yeah, as said, so there was packed a lot into the name GIS, and when we are talking about why it is like that, in the past, I think GIS was quite a niche until 2010 or something like that. And then what has happened? Well, Google Maps came out and just everything exploded because people were able to see a map on the browser. So it was really into their everyday lives, and maps were not there in the past. So, and I think that's the most relevant and game-changing fact in the end, because Google Maps has just pushed the industry so far. Prior to that, there were scan maps. Where is my shop in the city? There were just hand-drawn maps or really static maps. But the whole thing just blew off when Google Maps came out. And I think that was then the time where everyone, what is this GIS? And what are those web maps all about? And then they overloaded the term GIS with quite a lot of things and concepts and ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, just if you would like to join, write a comment here and we can discuss it here, of course. So let's have a look on the other questions from Michael. If it's good enough for Shakespeare to question, it's good enough for GISchat, of course. Yeah. Katie Scheurer, Katie, I hope you will see this. I really love your channel. She's writing, I think GIS is great for traditional work where you are building and maintaining a geographic information system. Yes, exactly. But I think it's being used too broadly, and that's what I said. So you are overloading the term GIS with a lot. We need geographer, cartographer, spatial data scientists, and spatial analysts to all exist as well. Well, to me, it's important to be this communication point, so to focus all those aspects, being a cartographer, spatial data scientist, geographer, writer, teacher, and communicator and facilitator, right? So, and multiplicator, that's a thing where I see myself to be a multiplicator for everything related spatial technology. Ours, Amy Rose data, right? I'm over the term, it's too generalized, and all we all need to be more specific about what we are doing exactly. So there's Don Metz, Don Meltz, a guy I came across recently on GISchat. He writes, I'm a planner or a geodesigner if you want to use GIS labeling, well, of course. And geospatial technologies feels more accessible. Of course it does. So and this is exactly the thing, you know, like with Google Maps, with Carto, and all the other web-based tools, even OpenStreetMap and doing my own mapping with UMap or something like that makes it more accessible. So it's embedded everywhere. So we are getting out of the niche and being part of the big game, because everyone is saying, well, 80% of data has geospatial item or something like that. Of course it has, but it was not available and it was not visible. So we all know those forms that are out there going with, please put your address here. And you're saying, yes, this is geospatial information. It should be on a map and select your address here. No, I don't want to select the address by a long list of street names and house numbers. I just want to place it on a map. Mustafa is writing, what is the difference between GIS and geomantic? I think you mean geometric, right? So to my understanding, geometric is measuring the world, and GIS is like data management or data gathering, data management, publishing, analyzing, visualization. And so geometric is one part of it, but GIS is is even more. And it could be artistic, it could be painting, but in the end, like, there are so many aspects in GIS that are far beyond geometric. So if you just watch and take a look at GISchat, you will see a lot of different ideas floating around where people were showing off their work from a publication or artistic aspect, like Topi did in the did in the last week with a custom style for QGIS. And so there are a lot of different ways on what is GIS to you personally, but in the end, it's everything together. All right, so let's have a look on what's going on with this discussion anymore. So geospatial technologies feels more accessible. Yes, exactly. Even with the progressing of QGIS that makes it whole for free, like with a free license, you don't need to buy a GIS anymore. And QGIS is so big and it offers so much possibilities for you guys out there without having to buy anything. And that's just awesome, especially for people that might not be able to afford such a big software package like ArcGIS is. So it depends on the context and the S. Which is S? Geographic Information Science. Well, yeah. What is the S in GIS? The field, geographic information system, the IT infrastructure, software, hardware, all together. Could be one machine or could be cloud-based. Yeah. So that's it, right? So what is GIS? To me, it's a geographical information system and not the science. I think the term GIS is writing here, Drew, itself is okay, but it needs to be redefined for the times we live in. GIS is still portrayed as a domain of expert, even though elements of it are so ubiquitous in modern life. And exactly that is, right? So we are pasting addresses somewhere. We would like to see the next Starbucks. Uber is doing cartography. Volkswagen is doing cartography. And so there's most likely something built in called the GIS into a new Tesla Model 3, right? So I think the term GIS is okay. GTAC, Michael Gold is GTAC. Sounds cool. So let's have a look whether there are any new comments here in the stream. No, there are not. So what else? I think the term GIS is the best. Well, that's a little bit too broad. Let's have a look. What else? Why not? Is Google Earth a GIS? Google Earth was another big shout out to the GIS industry and took us all out of the niche. So I remember myself just cruising around on Google Earth, visiting countries I will never see in my everyday life. Visited Mongolia for the first time on Google Earth. Planned my trekking trip for 1,000 kilometers in Mongolia with Google Earth, with the satellite image view and the tracking feature and stuff like that. So that was just awesome. And of course, yeah, Google Earth to me is a GIS. So you can analyze data, like you can measure, right? You can publish, you can print out maps, you can create new data with creating a KML. So definitely Google Earth is quite is a front-end UI of a much larger GIS that Don Meltz is writing. Yeah, I would say Javier Leon is writing, I would say yes, but people argue no real spatial analysis is possible, so it is not actually GIS. What is real spatial analysis? So if I can measure tools, I can ask myself, is it far or away from another feature? So yes, this is proper analysis, in my opinion. Yeah, so why not GISchat? Well, that's a question. Google Earth is a front-end UI of much larger GIS. Donald, what is the much larger GIS in Google Earth terms? Is it the Google Earth database in the end, or I don't know. So if you have anything else you would like to discuss with me, I will still be here for some more minutes. let's have a look what else is going on GISchat here on Twitter, because it's not quite GISchat day today, not in my time zone, but we are starting on off early in New Zealand. So Don Miles is writing GIS equals spatial IT. That is all. And exactly, it is spatial IT in my opinion as well. But yeah, we are dealing with that. Sometimes we are nearer the IT, sometimes we are far away from the IT, and we are dealing with GIS just as a tool. But to publish data maybe, or to create a web map, or even more basic, to create a PDF. What is the best resources I can use to advance my knowledge and skills in GIS? Is writing Scott. Scott, hi. Oh, that's a good one. In terms of ArcGIS, you might really be good in using their MOOCs they are pushing out for free, because this is massive open online courses. They are doing that with Udemy, I think, but I'm not really sure. Just look there and enroll there. They have lots of training materials as well. And of course, my new QGIS tutorial lessons. I think I have already 7 hours of QGIS training, so you can watch this out. But in the end, I would really propose, if you haven't done this yet and you are open for suggestions, take a Python course. Take a Python course on Udemy, $9 or something like that, really cheap, and it will pushes you further. Second most, read a book, either for ArcPy or for PyQGIS. So even for the ArcGIS world or for the QGIS world, and try to learn Python. It will really pushes you far away, right? If you're more into visualization and into how to publish and communicate my data, your data, then definitely have a look into all these mapping libraries like OpenLayers, Leaflet, and stuff like that. But I don't know whether you are more into programming or more into artistic and publishing and designing things maybe. So and then there's of course the whole database world where you can have a look on PostGIS and PostgreSQL. Yeah. But I would rather search on Udemy. The courses are really not cheap in terms of quality, but cheap in terms of money. Take a look on all the blogs that are outside there. There's a lot going on on YouTube as well. But I really would, if you watch YouTube videos, make sure that it's about a GUI, because learning programming with YouTube videos is not fun at all. It will just bother you all the time. Now, what else? That's yeah, Don Meltz is writing something very true. Why is GIS equals spatial IT? It's because most of us in this GIS chat group are actually geographers, not GISers. Is it true? But for some reason, since the early 1990s, we have all been lumped together. GISchat, geography is a study of the Earth, its natural environment, and the humans that inhabit it. GIS is the primary tool geographers use to collect, store, analyze, and visualize the data used for studying human environmental interaction. Well, that's the definition, right? Let's have a look what else is going on today. Nathan from, I don't know, is saying, well, I don't know what the name I would adopt. Most of what I do is make maps, manage and manipulate spatial data, manage databases, run spatial analysis, and write spatially aware software and scripts. Exactly, that's the thing what I'm doing all the time, right? So Scott, I hope I've offered you some insights. GIS here in the US, unfortunately, too many people confuse geography with geology. Well, my wife is telling me I'm a good geologist as well. and I really don't like her for that sentence. So that's why I stay away from any term with geo to describe what I do. Yeah. But Michelle is answering, I'm always telling people maps, not rocks. I bet it's maps of rocks. Well, that's a good punt. Remember that anyone can ask a question, start a discussion. Yeah, I'm a geographer. So what else do we have here? No more questions on your side. So let's have a look what was going on in the geospatial industry in the last weeks. Join me on my live chat. Hashtag GISchat on YouTube, right? I would love to discuss with you. So four people's online. What else do we have from the past? Yeah, that was I already mentioned it. The Dormido style. I really loved it. So that was somehow invented by a cartographer. She was doing maps by hand, and Topi Tukanov took it to the next level, and well, created a QGIS style for that. That was cool. Here's the link. Now, what else do we have in the last weeks? Yeah, QGIS 2 3GS has some point cloud support for the time being, so that's cool as well. And of course, in the last days, there was this going around where people tended to divide their countries into sections where the next country is labeled. So if you are into anything like cartography, just visit or search for border maps. And of course, State of the Map was going on last week, I think, and there will be some online videos in the next days. So just check the CCCDE this link here if you are interested into what was going on there. State of the Map US. I've never been there because I'm in Berlin, so it would be quite a trip. Yeah, State of the Map US. Would be interesting to see whether there are lots of ArcGIS people going around, or whether it's more an Esri event or something like that. I'm curious about this. And someone was asking, well, is it good to go on freelancing? Well, I'm doing this in the meantime, or in my spare time. So it always depends on whether you are really interested into learning something, or if you're really dependent on it. So I'm not dependent on it, so I'm doing it more for fun. But I'm also based in Germany, so our hourly rates are quite high, and to take it into international context, I cannot compete with everyone. And there are other people around that can do the same work for much cheaper money, but with the same quality, because people in Pakistan are just working equally, right? So if they are good enough, and off you go. But the cost of living over there is much lower than here in Germany. So the wages or the hourly rates really differ, and it is somehow hard on that platforms. I'm working on Upwork, but you're getting used to it, right? So you're just writing proposals, and you're trying to get into the market with clients. And if a client likes your work, he might join you as well and be with you. for the next work. So let's have a look here. What else is going on? Oh, that's a good question. Okay, why do you do what you do in geospatial? We often talk about the how you got into the industry, but what makes you stay? Well, that's a good question. What makes me stay into the industry is the broadness of the area. So I can, in my company, I can talk to communications, I can talk to the data analytics teams, I can talk to the database supporters. There are a lot of discussion, communicating, and dealing with different problems of different industries, and that's a challenge. But that makes it the fun way, right? So I'm not only digitizing things on a map, or I'm not taking care of any street network all the time. So I can throw around ideas into different directions all the time, and I think that's where the magic happens, right? So if you are just having your eyes open, your ears open, and you're able to communicate, being into my GIS world makes me stay, because it is just fun, and it is always it's thriving, it's competing. So it's really nice to be in the industry and to work here all the time. What else do we have? So, not so much anymore. What about you? Do you have any questions, or anything you would like to discuss in this 101 live chat with me? By the way, my name is Ricardo Klinger. Hi. So no real comments for the moment. What else has happened in the last week? Well, there was a nice discussion going around about mapping Africa. But Forvet is asking when GISchat page will be corrected. Is it wrong? Is it somehow broken? Wasn't aware of it. Let's have a look. digitalgeography.com/jobs. Still working, so I don't see any problems with that. /jobs works fine. You know, the big challenge with me in GIS, how to extract features from satellite image without using LiDAR data, so it's machine learning can do it. Yes, of course you can do it, but it takes some time, right? No, machine learning with satellite image data. Take a look at some Mapbox approaches in the past. So they were into that parking spot mapping. I can provide some links about it afterwards. It's all, take the term object recognition, and it's always like, yeah, visiting pictures and images and trying to get some meaning into it. It's a tough one. You can do it, but it's a really tough one. Hi Ricardo, a humble question. Can I make my maps more simple and in the same time more meaningful? Yes, of course you can. Like, it's always a question, like, ask the right question and you will get an answer that brings you forward. No, you can do it. Well, it's all about generalization. Really stick to the point. Who is the map meant to work with? Was it the right question? So who's the audience of the map? Is the audience a map literate person? Is the audience just a tourist or a student or an elder people? So take this into account if you're trying to create a map. Should it be interactive or just a printed map? And by meaningful, try to stick with the idea behind that, right? So what are the values I would like to show? Special, really common cases. Yeah, I have data, I would like to put it on a map, and I'm using 10 decimals for population density values. What the FC UK, right? You don't need 10 decimals. You don't need that sort of precision to get the basic information to your client. And that's one thing. So always keep in mind to boil it down to the minimum and make it as exact as possible. In exact, I mean the person on the other side understands the information you would like to communicate. And so I just created this one lesson where we talked about analyzing the location of property to buy, right? There was a scheming, some criteria on the buildings I'm interested in. And then you can create a map where you put all the buildings in it and highlight the buildings that are of interest, but you can just leave all the other buildings away. Like the person is not interested in buying all the buildings. He's just interested in buying some of the buildings that meet the criteria. Just place the buildings there. And sometimes if you're into web mapping, do not put everything you have from data perspective on the web map, just the basic ones. Like most of the information is part of the base map in the end, like OpenStreetMap or Google Maps or whatsoever. But work with that. Humble question, yeah. Please click on the job. The pop-up is not appearing anymore, is it? Let's have a look. That's the thing I call with testing, right? So, well, I see pop-ups. I don't have any problems with that. So maybe this might be due to your browser or something. So I'm using Firefox. The only problem is that the link to a job is quite long, so it's overriding. But please maybe drop me a line on Twitter. My username there is Rickley, and show me make a screenshot out of the problem or something like that, and I can look into the code. Mustafa, yeah, back again, great. eCognition developer can do it, but I think the result will be more accurate if we are using only satellite images. Depends, right? Satellite imagery is always dependent on the cloud coverage, on time of day, shadows, different time of year. So that's quite a hurdle for object recognition based on satellite imagery. And so you really need to normalize the satellite image to be as accurate as it is. But if you're like detecting a tree, right? Summertime, well, take band 4, take band 3, and everything is just fine. Wintertime, without leaves, without NDVI values, you're off the road, right? So it's a hurdle. Let's have a look once again to the GIS chat here on Twitter. Geodata science. No, I don't like that. Geodata science, well, it's math in the end. Oh, that's one of my pet peeves, along with I need a GIS map. And I've heard that so often. So I need a GIS. What? Like, what? Why are you? So people are talking about technology first, and then after that they are talking about the problems. But it's always interesting to see people talking about the technologies so early and not about the problems. So I need to make a trip, and I would like to see where the next hotel is. That's a good question. So I can provide you the data. So do you need to print it out, or do you want to have it on the way, right? So. What else is happening? Oh, that's important for every one of you. Next week, Esri UC, Esri User Conference, normally taking place on site in the US for big money. Now I think it's for free to register yourself, so it will be an online only event. Well, good for the US because they have quite an issue with COVID-19 at the moment. But please make sure, register and visit SUUC, either because you are an Esri fanboy or you are a GIS fanboy. But in the end, come on, we need to be true to the fact. Esri is a technology leader, and they're producing great products in the end, right? So yeah, they cost money. They have a not easy to use license in the end, but still they are kicking the market, and I really love to work with their products. And I'm a QGIS fanboy as well, right? So it's not a thing where proprietary solutions meet open source solution. It's just like, okay, who's doing cool? And geo event processing, great tool, right? So show me something compatible in the open source world, and I'm free to take a swing around. I love helping people and solving problems. Exactly, Mike Dolbo. Exactly. So I'm happy, and as long as I can tackle those things, I'm happy. Yes, exactly. This is the thing, right? So people have questions, and as we know, 80% of the information has a geospatial part. Yeah, that's where we come in, right? As GIS persons and GIS experts, but maybe geospatial experts, right? So we can deal with their problems with a different point of view, where we are questioning the data behind it and the geography behind that, to get a proper result in the end. So what else do we have? So I think we are done for today. If you have any additional questions right now, make sure to drop them now. Otherwise, I will just say goodbye, and please stay tuned to the next sessions. And my wife is already telling me I need to go to bed because it's quite late already. So, I migrate from Esri product to big fan for open source, and QGIS. Do so, and do so in the future as well. But now it's time for end this GIS chat with me today. Take care and goodbye. See you online.